Adventures in Design Holiday 2018 is brought to you by California Christmas, organic cold brew coffee infused with organic peppermint tea, as well as organic raw cacao. Visit ThunderKingBrewing.com to have California Christmas shipped right to your front door. Use AID COT to get a discount on your next order. Speaking of the holidays, don't forget to visit jackprince.com to design your custom holiday greeting cards. Your design, your artwork, your paper choice, your print style, your custom card. To remind all your 2018 clients, you're ready to work into the next year. Order today. Jack Prince has a discount that's going to end December 1st. That's this Saturday. So make sure you go to jackprince.com, get your custom greeting card order in, and remember, no shipping, no hidden fees. Go to jackprince.com/circle of trust to save off of already low industry pricing. Get your custom greeting card order in today. Hey, what do you say we get started with Comment Below and the return of Sean Mort?
You're listening to the AID Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very special Comment Below. Oh, as the time grows on and the years pass, sometimes things don't go exactly the way that we wanted to, but we all come together as friends on AID. Sean Mort, welcome back to your extended delay of being on your own show, Comment Below. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a very long time. So many things have happened.
It has. And when coming up later on today, we'll explain everything that you want to know about Sean Mort and his international trials and tribulations. And hey, you know, America elected a president that said he was going to be tougher on borders, tougher on securities. He was going to keep the caravans out. Oh, and he delivered on that promise, right, Sean?
He really did, yeah. He made a lot of Americans in California happy these past few weeks. But you know, one little boy from the Snicket, not so much. But you know, it's all good. I'm over it now. It's fine.
Well, my family was very safe because of this extreme border control. But let's do this.
So true.
One of the things that people like to do around the holidays, if they can find the time, is go out to the cinema. So what we have for you today in the free portion of Comment Below today, I have pulled out 12 films that release in the month of December. It's the Comment Below Holiday Guide to Cinema. Sean, are you ready to get started?
I am very ready, yeah.
It's interesting because if we look in the month of November, we actually had, I think, the bigger holiday movies drop. We had the Grinch that came out, we had Apollo, and we also had Wreck-It Ralph. To me, those feel like the three big holiday films, like the real holiday films.
I don't know about Creed personally, but those two, like the Grinch and Wreck-It Ralph, because they're animated,
yeah,
and there's kind of no competition, they have legs, so they know that they can release them in November,
right,
and they'll kind of still be showing at Christmas. It's like it's the perfect play, really, because there's no competition for it. Like, what other competition have we got here? Like Spider-Man, that's it, but that's not it, is it? So, and
did Disney's Nutcracker, that's already out as well, correct?
Been and gone, yeah. That's something about a trace, that little bad boy.
Yeah, you know, the Nutcracker's one of those things that I just literally have zero interest in. Now, Wreck-It Ralph, I never saw the first one. I will probably see this one. And the Grinch,
okay,
to me, it looks worthy of a watch, but I'll probably do what I do a lot of times. That'll probably be one of my holiday movies that I watch in 2019 when I can watch it VOD in my living room, not around your sticky children, not around the kid that 20 minutes in can't handle it anymore. Like, to me, that just seems like something watch at home when you can watch it when you're in control.
So we had our first full family trip to the cinema to see the Grinch.
Oh, wow.
So that was our kind of like special occasion. So like a few weeks before, they were having like almost like a lead up to the Grinch. They were showing all of the Illumination movies at the movies like every Saturday. So they had like, you know, Despicable Me 3 was on. So me and Henry went to see it, and Henry was just like completely engrossed, you know, like he wasn't when he went to see First Man with me. He was running around like an idiot, but for Despicable Me 3, he just loved it. So when the Grinch came out, Ruth said, she'd quite like to go, and that was kind of the perfect one because it'll get her in the Christmas mood. So it worked really well for that, but all three of us fell asleep
Really?
during the movie. Yeah, I think we were just like, Henry would just, he does that because it was during his nap time and we knew that would be a bonus. Me and Ruth just always need to catch up on sleep, so we were just a mess. But thankfully, it's the Grinch, so you don't need to know that story because everybody knows that story anyway. So, but it was, you know, it looked great and it was funny in bits. So,
Wow, what a review! How many
hearty recommendation?
How many pillows do you give it?
Oh, easily like a 4 out of 5 pillows. Just the fact that I was able to sleep during it suggests that it's a good snooze.
Absolutely. That I mean, but although when you have kids, isn't it like it doesn't take much for you to be like, I'm going to pass out now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm notoriously bad with that and with sleeping. And since Henry was born, I've found the will, and I can sleep a lot easier than I used to do now. So yeah, it's yeah, we obviously, you know, the lights went dark and we took advantage. If it would have been Star Wars, I'm sure I would have found a way to stay awake, but I don't need to know the ins and outs of what happens in the middle of the Grinch, so I just thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to take advantage and have a good 10-minute snooze. It's all good.
The thing I would be curious to see it from a creative perspective is what about the old one did they think that they could improve on, and how much more story was there that they thought that they could take. You know, the first one, is the first one a 30-minute or a 60-minute cartoon? Either way, it's 22 or 40 minutes.
It's very short. I know that much.
Yeah, I would love to know where somebody saw, you know, is there space to tell more story? But I mean, it's probably more of a cash grab than the artistic way that I just tried to look at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely more like the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch. So it's got that kind of,
never saw it.
You know, they flesh. Well, you're not missing anything. They just, you know, fleshed out more of the kind of the citizens of the town rather than like kind of just keeping to the core story. It was fine. Like it flew by. It really did. It wasn't offensive and it looked great. And like I say, I laughed in bits as well. Yeah. So it just, you know, just a dumb kids film.
And that's the thing about those movies. Like, you know, you're going to watch it and you're going to be amazed at how great the animation is. And, you know, they always tell those stories at two different levels. You know, Grinch bumps his head so that the kids can laugh. There's a bigger social joke that adults can enjoy. You know, it's always two levels of comedy. But it's just one of those things that I'm just not going out of my comfort zone to see something like that. I don't have a kid. I don't have a reason to. Next year, VOD. Boom, I'll put it on one night. I'll probably have my laptop on my lap and I'll look up when I need to. Hey, before we get into the 12 movies that I pulled for our holiday viewing list, it is very sad that the folks over at Star Wars, Lucasfilm, decided to go away from the December release, because when Solo came out early summer, life was busy. Life was crazy. There were so many big movies on the horizon. How pumped would you be if Solo was coming out in like 2 weeks and that was going to once again be a part of your Christmas break? Like, oh, you stop working on this Friday. Everybody kind of just agrees to all disappear for 2 weeks and boom, you go see a Star Wars film. Like, that's their spot. They got to get back into the December release date.
I think looking now that, you know, Mary Poppins has the Solo spot, and Mary Poppins definitely fits into Christmas more than that. And having seen Solo, I also feel like it didn't, because it wasn't on the same level as the other movies. But yeah, I do agree. Like, I think that they missed a trick. I think that Christmas should be theirs. Other movies would move for it. It would have probably made more money at Christmas, and people would have been kinder to it, I think, at Christmas, rather than just like sandwiched in between Deadpool and Infinity War. Like, those two movies just ate up all of the space. Like, Infinity War has everything, right, and then Deadpool has the older market. Like, why do you need to see Solo? You don't. Whereas now, you have time.
And technically,
you have Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, and technically, they put out Infinity War. So they knew how good it was, and they knew how close they were placing their delicate project next to a box office monster. All that being said, one of the greatest things about the time that we live in is that you can always support and believe in the private market. And there is a YouTube channel called Star Wars Theory, and the author of Star Wars Theory, the creator of that channel, over 1.1 million subs, he stuck out his neck, came up with an idea to make a Star Wars movie, and God bless him, even though I'm not religious, he went out of his way to find people, to find the money. And so, on bended knee from the community that watches his channel, from donations, from creatives that were able to give him a reduced price and donate their time, there actually is a bit of a Star Wars film coming out December 20th, albeit a fan film. It's a film all about Vader that he made. So I wanted to thank him for at least putting a little bit of Star Wars in the holidays.
Yeah, and you're right. It's it doesn't feel like Christmas without Star Wars now, and I think that just it's next Christmas though, isn't it? We're getting Star Wars next Christmas.
I believe that's
episode whatever it is, 9.
Yeah, 9. When the Skywalker storyline finally comes to an end, I believe that is going to be next holiday season.
Yeah, well, that's okay then. As long as we're going to get one next year, it's fine. I think isn't it strange that you just like get fatigue of Star Wars and people are tired of it now after only having like 4 movies, and we get 3 MCU movies every single year, and people, the same fans, aren't tired of that. I think it's just, we've talked about this. The Star Wars world is too small.
It is too small.
And the MCU is huge, and they're exploring different aspects of it, and it needs to find its place. It hasn't found its place yet. It's staying so close to the formula, and it's like the main saga have so much kind of. They have so much kind of control over everything else. Like there was a thing in Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph wanted to include Kylo Ren in their movie and kind of poke fun at him. And the Lucasfilm guys were like, "Oh, we'd rather you didn't poke fun at the main villain in our movies. Thank you very much." And it's just like, so even for things like that, like synergy. So like you can imagine that. If Solo came and they were just like, "Oh, we want to do this," and they're like, "Oh, we're thinking of making a movie that exists in this timeline," they'd be like, "No, it can't cross over with these movies, or we can't go after that because we don't know what's going there yet and stuff." And it's just like, so then we're stuck in between the prequels and the main saga, and it just feels too small. Like I say, hopefully the TV show will sort that out, and hopefully we can find a place with these Rian Johnson and these Game of Thrones guys movies and stuff like that. So
at some point they're going to have to just loosen up on the reins, and they're going to have to just take a couple of big failures and sort of sort it all out and figure out where to go with it. And the reason why the Marvel Universe works so well is that they had a couple of years where nobody was really paying super close attention to them, and they kind of were able to figure out their pacing. I mean, it evolved to the master body of work that it is right now. And I say master body of work because if you really think about it, to make 3 big action films a year, have people always excited about them, always showing up, always talking, always setting new box office records, like it really is a feat for the action movie genre. And Star Wars just literally, it has 2.5 good films in its entire pile, and the nostalgia for the 70s Star Wars into the early 80s Star Wars, like that nostalgia is so big that it escalated the stock value of it all. And now there's millions of dollars on the line with all these films. There's $1 billion on the line here in Anaheim and out in Orlando on these worlds that they've built. And
they were going to be okay, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to start the GoFundMe just yet, but
no.
When you look at the gamble of everything that went into it and the fan grade, like if you asked every fan what is their grade on Star Wars at this moment, they need to create the next Luke Skywalker, the next Princess Leia, the next Darth Vader. Like they need to put more into that. And I know that they've hired people to tell different parts of that galaxy, but I don't know. In one way, it might be looked back on as one of the greatest swindles in the history of cinema, that people cared so much about a couple of films that everybody went in so hard and nobody could ever get back to the glory days. We are going down a Star Wars tangent, my friend.
Yeah, we are. I think that it's one of those things where, like, it's kind of, I'd be really interested to know what's going on behind the scenes right now.
Absolutely. I would love to know
though,
what the panic room looks like.
Yeah. They're burning the whole thing down, it seems like. Harry Potter seems to be having the same kind of problem at the moment as well. Like, they created these movies, and those movies don't have anywhere near the kind of the same like quality of storytelling as the MCU or even Star Wars. But, like, you know, they're trying to create a new franchise outside of the main saga, and it's just blowing to pieces, and they're making wrong move after wrong move, and it's just like they need somebody at the forefront who is who knows their shit. And you would think, you know, Kevin Feige is that guy for the Marvel universe.
Easy with that word, man. We don't. This isn't the mid '80s. We don't throw that around anymore, bud.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry for my Eddie Murphy rant. But Kathleen Kennedy doesn't seem to be that person. I mean, she's amazing, but she isn't really a Star Wars person. And then also, like, you know, Harry Potter's the same. Like, who better to get to be the creative head of Harry Potter than the person who wrote them? But she seems to be the one person who needs to step away from it, in the same way that people wanted to get rid of George Lucas as well. It's fascinating. These big things, they seem too big to fail.
Wasn't Kathleen Kennedy's rise to fame is that she was Lucas's right hand?
Oh, so she runs a production company with Frank Marshall. She's married to Frank Marshall, and they basically, like Lucas and Spielberg, they produced all of their movies.
Yeah.
So, like Indiana Jones, E.T., Star Wars, Jurassic Park, all of those huge movies were all produced by Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall.
See, a producer running an empire that's fueled on creativity. I was just having this conversation on yesterday's show with Brian Flynn, where Brian Flynn is vision, and he has hired people around him in Super 7 that can understand the business of his vision. So he comes up with the idea, oh my God, there's this hole in the collector market. We should get this IP. We should pitch these people that we can sell their toys in a way that they haven't. And that's his vision. Then he delegates it. But it sounds like Kathleen Kennedy is a right hand. Like, she is somebody that can 100% get things done, but does she have creative vision? And if you're at the very top of the pyramid, it's all about vision, you know? Like, you can delegate all you want, but you got to have somebody that has vision. Sean, your last comment, we need to move past this.
Yeah, no, I think I was just agreeing with you. I think that, like, you know, Kevin Feige, as I'm going to offensively call him, he is a comics guy. And Kathleen Kennedy isn't a Star Wars guy.
Right.
They needed a Star Wars person. They needed somebody who was really like, who was almost like brought up on Star Wars, whereas she's brought up on filmmaking and brought up with Hollywood. Two different things.
Yeah.
They really are. So, and there are other people, and I'm sure that it'll come to some kind of conclusion, but it's just, I don't know. Like you say, it's fascinating to see it, and it's a shame that we don't get to see it as much. Like, I'd love to be able to watch a documentary about it, or, you know, read a book about it in the years to come, but I feel like Disney has it on lockdown. Well,
December 20th, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Star Wars Theory on YouTube. I'm going to watch the Vader fan film, and I'm going to PayPal him before I hit play my $22, which what it would be to go see it here in LA. And
nice.
Really, to Star Wars Theory, you know, like, what an amazing thing for a creator to say, I want to do this. I know that he had big dreams that, oh, if I could just get, you know, Lucasfilm to see my script, they would see my vision. And nobody sees your vision, you know? Sometimes you just kind of got to roll up your sleeves and do it on your own. And he went after Lucasfilm and said, I want to make this. And they gave him a blessing to make a fan film. So he's not allowed to directly profit off of it. He can't sell tickets. But if it's a fan-generated fan film and it exists on YouTube, I don't even know if he's allowed to do ad revenue on it. But either way, I always like to see somebody say, hey, I'm a believer in this world. Let me jump in. And who knows? Maybe something like this, they might see, man, this guy really knows his stuff. Let's give him a consultant job, or let's, you know, we're going to have our own streaming service soon. Maybe there's a space for this guy. So we all know from Adventures in Design, show the world what you're capable of. The world will see that. The world will treat you that way, and you'll get hired to do more of it if you do it well the first time. So December 20th, Vader over on YouTube, Star Wars Theory. I'll be there. And if you watch it, you should send the guy a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I agree. This is a great thing.
Hey friends, I hope you're enjoying today's episode with Sean Morton and myself. Don't worry, we are going to get to our guide to the December films that you should probably go see, but we just can't resist talking about that Star Wars and speculating on it. California Christmas is back, baby. You can go to thunderkingbrewing.com to put in an order, and I got good news for you. This year, we're shipping it in cans. Now you can get the delicious taste of California Christmas. That's a peppermint-flavored cold brew coffee with cacao. You can get it delivered to your front door in 12-ounce cans. No more busting in the shipping. Everything's going to land the way that it needs to, and it's microdosed with liquid nitrogen to give it that creamy head that you've come to associate with quality nitro coffee. It's smooth holiday taste, but with the Thunder King power to get you through all your extra holiday work. It's brewed by Thunder King, but made with friendship. Make sure to go to thunderkingbrewing.com. Use coupon code AIDCOT to get a discount on your order of California Christmas. Now we are ready. 18 minutes in, we are ready for our big countdown. All right, so number 12, this has become a new category in filmmaking. There is sci-fi, there are outlaws films, there are all kinds of different genres, but the newest genre that's really come out over the last couple of years is the Lost at Sea genre.
Can I just interject for 1 second?
Yeah.
What order are these in? These aren't in date order. Are they in order of what you're excited about?
Yeah, number 12. We're counting up to number 1.
You're a crazy person. Let's go for this. You are mental. I can't believe that how weird the top of this list is. I'm so excited to go through it with you.
Oh,
you mad bastard.
Perfect. All right, so number 12 is The Mercy. It has the king. It has, what's his name in it?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth. An amazing actor. It's a Lost at Sea thing. I'm going to prove them all wrong thing. I don't know what it is about these. Like, I've watched a lot of these Lost at Sea films. It scares the shit out of me. It's scarier than any boogeyman. Like, to me, the thought of just one day I'm going to sail from Long Beach to Catalina, which is about an hour and a half on a real boat.
On a really nice shore as well. I'm sure it's not too windy as well. I'm sure it'd be good.
It scares the shit out of me to try to do that. So this is one of those things, man overcoming an obstacle, leaving it all behind. It definitely looks like there's a good thread in of the family. The wife was like, when we was building this boat, I didn't understand that one day you'd go away on this boat. So, it's going to have all that shit in there.
Yeah, this is an old movie. This came out in the UK a long time ago.
Really?
I had the chance to see it with Henry.
Good?
Like a baby screening. I refused to see it. I'm not in for this. This is not my kind of movie at all. So, I love Rachel Weisz. I think that she's a great actress. She's absolutely stunningly beautiful. But I'm not sitting down watching this movie. I don't think that this is one of those treachery at sea kind of movies. Anyway, it's an overcoming obstacles movie. It's like the Benedict Cumberbatch Alan Turing movie that came out a few years ago, or the Eddie Redmayne Stephen Hawking movie. It's just like kind of a little bit of a nice story that has a bit of mild peril in it. I'm not interested in that shit. Like, just
at some point
don't
in the
make
trailer,
these movies anymore.
At some point in the trailer, you see that he decides to start lying to people about where he's really at on his voyage, and then that creates a whole different scenario of things. Number 11. Disney has done a redo of Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is not something for me. I don't like singing. I will probably at some point watch this VOD in my home because I do like that they did what made Mary Poppins special the first time around. That it had the animation mixed in with the live action, and I found that as a kid to be a pretty cool thing. But I don't have kids. I'm not from a Snicket. I'm not exactly a fan of what was that rap about George Washington? What was that thing called?
Oh, Hamilton. Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course.
Yeah. But this to me, if you were doing the numbers, this would be much higher for you, correct? Fruity McGee?
Oh, absolutely. I was just getting ready to say it. This is easily top 3. The top 3 are very interchangeable for me, if I'm being honest, but this is easily top 3. So I would say that all 3 of them are number 1. So this is number 1.
So
me.
You're 100%, you are making sure that this happens for you.
Oh, me and Ruth are like, we're getting a babysitter. We're just going to lose our mind watching this movie. We're going to get all the snacks. It's going to be, I'm so excited. So fucking excited for this movie.
What makes you excited about a redo of Mary Poppins? Are you a fan of the original?
It's not a redo. It's a sequel.
Oh, she comes back. That's right. I saw it. See, that's how little I cared.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Mary Poppins. That was ingrained into my childhood. I loved it as a kid. I loved it when they did like kind of Saving Mr. Banks, that movie that came out a few years ago. The kind of like the story around Mary Poppins with Tom Hanks, where he played Walt Disney.
I liked like 30% of that film.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure you like seeing some of it, like, you know, seeing bits of the Disney stuff. I'm sure that was was fascinating.
When Walt Disney in that film pulls his car up to the gates, you know, because it used to just be the gates that you could go in. Oh my God, my heart melted a little, just a little.
Yeah, there was some really good touches from that. But anyway, it was a fun behind the scenes movie. I'm sure a lot of it was nonsense. And then this is, I mean, it's not even to do with Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm not even sure he's a great actor, but like, you know, it's. Oh God! I'm in. I'm absolutely in. Like I'm very excited. Number 11. You're an idiot.
It's a very Snicket-friendly movie. Moving up to our top 10, I have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Number one, joint number one.
That's number one for you?
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, fucking hell, this looks so good.
Okay, so it looks fantastic. I was over at Sony's animation studios a couple weeks ago. I did an interview with one of the digital composers, Alfred Kurtberger III, who is one of the most fascinating men I've ever met in my life. This looks really, really good. I saw a little bit. You know, they had the entire courtyard of Sony Animation with just like these massive cutouts of different characters, different scenes. The only thing why this is 10, and this is me being honest, when it's at 10, because it feels like it skews a bit young. And I like my superhero stuff to have a dark edge to it. I like it to be a little bit more adult. So if I'm being completely honest, this is at 10 because it just feels, it feels like it looks like one of those Star Wars animated things that you know, Cartoon Network kind of is for adults, kind of for kids. Every time I watch this stuff, I get a little bit bored. That's why I put this at 10.
Now, it's directed by the guys who directed the Lego movie.
I met one of the directors.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So it was directed by those guys, and they did 21 Jump Street and stuff. And they have never put a foot wrong. You know, they were supposed to do Solo and then got kicked off it, which, you know, is a shame. But, you know, that wasn't the right thing. But this, so even though it probably will skew a little bit young also, it looks crazy. Like it's going...
Looks fantastic.
It's going like... balls deep. It really is going balls deep into the Spider-Man lore. No, Spider-Man, not just Spider-Man, Spider-Ham and stuff. Listen, this looks so fucking good. I get what you mean though. I understand, but I think Lego Movie is the perfect example of something that skews young but just works for everybody on every single level.
Lego Movie, the very first one was just, I was shocked at how it was for all ages. It was entertaining. It was never compromised by being children friendly. I think the Spider-Man is going to be good. It's one that I will definitely, the Mary Poppins Returns, I don't think I'll hit that in the theater. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I will one afternoon for sure find a way to use my movie pass to go see it. Number 9, Vox Lux with Natalie Portman. This comes out December 7th. So to me, I love a good rock and roll story. I love a good tale of like the rise of stardom, the self-destruction of it all. Like it's something that I'm obsessed with. Every day I go over and look at TMZ.com to see what Tekashi 6ix9ine has done to himself. Like, so Vox Lux, it looks a little troublesome, really, really well cut promo. Rolling Stone is praising it. I'm not exactly sure what I'm getting into, but I'm cool with that. And, this is a little bit more, it's got like an indie vibe to it. This is a film that's a little bit more cut for me.
Yeah, no, I think it looks great. This looks like a sequel to A Star Is Born.
It looks like that, honest. And it also, because of Natalie Portman and the dark way that it was shot, it felt like that it had a little bit of a Black Swan vibe in it as well.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think this looks good. I've kind of been keeping away from it. Like the title's horrible, and I've seen like the images and stuff like that. But watching the trailer, this looks great, and the reviews have been amazing. So I mean, how's it not going to be good? I don't think I'll see it at the cinema just because I don't get a lot of time, and it's probably not going to have much of a run in the UK anyway, so I probably won't get much of a chance because of how small and indie it is. But yeah, this looks really good. I'm glad that you made this list, and it certainly is one of the better looking movies on this list for sure.
One of the things that I enjoy doing with these lists is I take them and I put them in my iPhone in the notes app, and when when we do the TV top 10 or we do the film top 10, like I actually keep these on my person, and it helps it almost makes like a good checklist of what to work through.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to remind everybody that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that's December 14th. Mary Poppins Returns is the 19th, right before Christmas, and The Mercy is out at the end of this week. Okay, number 8. So this is a film that I think could go really bad or mildly good, but I put it above Vox Lux because I actually have a curiosity for it. And sometimes to me, a curiosity is enough to kind of get me out. I don't think it'll be better than the movies that put it above, but my curiosity for it is more. Holmes and Watson. I absolutely hate Sherlock Holmes. I hate any of that fancy lad shit. It's surprising that you and I are friends because you come from that world. You're from Castle times, Sherlock Holmes times, telephone booth times. But it is the reunion of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly doing what they do, which is act like a couple of dumbasses. Will it get long in the tooth, them being fancy gentlemen of the past? Can an era centric piece or a period piece, can that, because I hate period pieces, can that overcome my love for these two acting like a knucklehead? To me, I don't know that this is good, but I'm completely curious by it.
Yeah, I don't feel like I need to see this. I feel like probably if it was released when Step Brothers was released, because that's a good movie, that's underrated.
Yeah, it really is.
I feel fine, but that was a long time ago. That John C. Reilly's making another period movie with Steve Coogan about Laurel and Hardy.
He looks so much like Hardy. It's insane.
Yeah, and that looks like my kind of thing. That is definitely, it's got more of a drama feel to it, and it's got more nuance. This looks so stupid, it's unbelievable. I can't. It's got that kind of what are those movies with Marky Mark and Will Ferrell? Is it Daddy's Home? It's Daddy's Home.
Yeah,
it's got that feeling to it. It's if it has merit and it gets good reviews, then I'll see it. But I am not going to the cinema. It's a very crowded week.
Yeah, I mean, it comes out December 21st, and what they're banking on is that, the one thing that the family can agree on is a comedy, right? That's why you want to put a comedy out that week of Christmas, because not everybody can agree on everything else. But hey, let's laugh together, because we truly hate each other. But if we can laugh together, we might tolerate each other a little bit more. I get what they're going for. This is a VOD title for me, but I put it at 8 because of my curiosity, which is exactly why I put the next film in here at 7, because look, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I know what I'm getting into. I'm going to go see that. It's going to be a little bit young for me, but I'm going to enjoy it. The animation is wild. The style guide, and talking to Alfred, who's the digital compositor of literally bringing all the different styles together so it feels like one world. That's insane. But 7, Aquaman, December 21st. What? I'm beyond curious at how bad it's probably going to be. First off, they got a Doraki playing fish guy, which whatever happened to Vince, right? I mean, this was Vince's big break on Entourage, that he was Aquaman.
Oh yeah, of course.
And the kids loved him for it. Loved him for it. But the Aquaman, I mean, you've got a superhero that's already plagued by such an odd superpower. To try to turn that into 2.5 hours of compelling cinema and to get people on board, and to not put Vince from Entourage and Mandy Moore in it. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm beyond curious to see it. Like, this is something that will get me in a seat, because I have just a weird obsession with what the hell were they thinking? How close can they come to pulling it off? To me, I look at the artistic gamble of this, and, like when they're underwater, how much do they pay attention to things flowing? Do they put bubbles everywhere? Do they make the lens have sort of a ripple effect to it? Like, it is an insane task. It's an insane task. Sean?
Yeah, I just, this has got Venom vibes to me. Like and I feel the same way. Like I don't want to see it, and I haven't seen Venom yet, and I'm not interested in it. And this, it might be good. Some people might like it. This is a horrible week to go to the cinema. This day, one day, we've got four big movies, and there's going to be some losers, and I feel like I cannot choose right now which is going to be the big loser. It could be all of them because it comes out 2 days before Mary Poppins. Like I am worried it's going to be a bloodbath because this is going to make money. I'm sure it is, but like there's no love for the DC universe.
No.
And this looks incredibly weird. It's a tonal shift. It's definitely like took a right turn from all of the other ones. So I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm fascinated, but not bums on seat fascinated.
Well, and the number 6 is the same fascination. So I've been a sucker. I've gone and seen all of the Transformer films. Loved the franchise when I was a kid. My heart was really a G.I. Joe guy, but Transformers got that 30-minute slot right after G.I. Joe, Real American Hero.
Yeah.
Bumblebee was one of the OGs. December 21st, a Bumblebee solo film comes out. It's gone back in time when he's actually the Volkswagen Bug and not like a Mustang or whatever he was.
Yes, I think so. Something like that. The
retelling of it. So it looks like a smaller movie. You got strong female teenager
Steinfeld
character. Yeah. So, it's a very modern film, even though it's going back. It's going to be a smaller Transformers film, which I feel like is a good thing because normally those films with the ensemble, it's always like this character. Now we got to overcome this thing and that thing. And it feels like this might be the first film that feels like the cartoon that raised us.
Yeah. The trailer is really selling it to me.
Yeah.
Like I have no interest in a Transformers movie. I quite enjoyed the first one. The second one was a mess. The third one was horrible. I haven't seen anything since then. I think there's only been one more. This seems, it's got a nice period to it. It really it looks nice. This is the one that I think is going to win the weekend for me personally. And it's the only one out of the 4 that I'm in any way interested in seeing. Also, there must be something good about it because the guy who's directing it is apparently going to be the new Guardians of the Galaxy director.
Really?
So, yeah, he's called like Travis Knight or something like that. And yeah, apparently he's going to be, so he's being tapped to be the James Gunn replacement. So that gives me good vibes.
Here's a living in LA moment for you. Somebody took out money and put up billboards around LA.
Yes.
To get
Spent a lot of money
to get James Gunn back in to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like there's a full-on ad campaign going around the city, which is to put James Gunn back into his job, because
that is throwing money down the drain.
Yeah, Disney's not going to back down on that. I mean, they might have. I think that they overreacted. I think they went in a little bit too hard, a little bit too quick,
absolutely,
and got sucked into the moment. And then when you find out the people that brought up these, he just put up some dumb jokes on his Twitter feed, a decade ago, and the people that did that that like basically ratted on him turned out to be like a white supremacy group, right? That formed a fake parents group and then ratted him out to his boss. And then as people dug deeper, they're like, well, these are just, like fascists that wanted to get him in trouble because they disagree with his political views. So it's just a complete shitstorm. But hey, yeah, that's 2018 in America, my friend.
I know, yeah. It's like people equating that and what Roseanne did to be the same thing, and it's just like
totally different.
We're not having that conversation.
No,
it's crazy. But yeah, anyway, Bumblebee.
Completely
I'm excited.
Different. Okay, so
I'm excited.
I got 5 more films left. But as far as when you think of holidays, you normally think of a pretty good action movie that broke out. And for the last couple of years, it's always been Star Wars was that big thing I was looking forward to my holiday break. Well, this year we have Spider-Man, Mary Poppins, Aquaman, and Bumblebee. That is our big lot of, to go see a little bit of magic and a little bit of fantasy on our break. And I really feel like that this roster falls pretty short of holidays of the past.
Yeah, I don't, but you do. That's I only need to be one, and Mary Poppins is that one. Like I have the same.
That's that important
feeling.
to you.
Yeah, it really is. This is the huge standout. This is bigger than Beauty and the Beast. It's bigger than any of those movies. This is like if like a Toy Story 4 kind of thing. If this is like Star Wars next year, this is the Star Wars. It absolutely is. It replaces it perfectly. I'd rather see this than Solo this Christmas.
Really?
100%. Yeah, definitely. Jesus.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. What?
It really does.
What? Hey, friends, I hope you're enjoying Comment Below and us cruising through the movies that come out in the month of December 2018. Coming up in part 2, I know what many of you want to hear that are regular listeners. You probably want to know all about Sean Mort's story, right? About how he didn't show up to California for the holidays like we'd all planned. Sean's story is coming up in part 2 only for members of the Circle of Trust, as well as I give a review of Designer Con, who it's right for, how it felt. Is it a show that's worthy of your vending money and your vending time? This is the perspective for vendors. I'm sure all of the fans that went there had a great time, but what does it look like from the eyes of a vendor? Today's episode is a great reminder of a product that I made, the new product line from AID, the Medals of Honor. I just wanted to talk about this for just a minute because I wanted to remind you that not only does this pen that I'm selling to you for a discounted price, not only is it a piece of merchandise, but it's a piece of merchandise that has meaning to it. And I just want to kind of break it down when it's appropriate, that I really do believe that meeting others, meeting people that are different to you, it is the key to life. It is the way to have an enriched life. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is I was thinking about it. Sean Mort, Thunder King, Violent Gentleman, and Gus. So my co-host for today's show and all of the guys that I'm partners with in California Christmas, all of these relationships come from Adventures in Design. All of these relationships come from taking a chance, meeting people that were different than me, and becoming friends with them. And now look at how rich my life is from having Sean as my friend, and we've spent all these hours getting to know each other and going on all these adventures around the world. And my friends over at Violent Gentleman and creating Hammer Time, and my relationship with Thunder Dean. And one day I just had the idea. I told him, I'm like, you know what I really want? I really want a Christmas cold brew. I would love the idea if somebody could make a peppermint or candy cane flavored cold brew. And now we have it, and we're shipping it in cans all around the U.S. and serving it at great places here in Southern California. So the key to life, it's not just a pen that I'm trying to sell you. It's a symbol of getting out of your shell, talking to those people that are different than you or seem similar to you, but forging friendships. And every opportunity that I've ever had has always come from, it's always stemmed from a great friendship. So pick one up today for yourself or give one to a friend that needs to come out of its shell. I just wanted to kind of break down why it's so important to me and why I feel like the pen has a very, very strong meaning and why I'm so into the Medal of Honors, because I just want to make merchandise that has a meaning, that takes the narrative of all the lessons of the show and carries it out into the real world. And I can't wait to see how these go out to folks, where they put them, who they give them to, and how it helps encourage others to just keep grinding and keep reminding yourself it's always time to take a chance. It's always time to meet somebody new, always time to get out of your shell. All of these products in our store have a discount for Circle of Trust members, and our pens are always made by our friends over at Pen Game Strong. Okay, here's what we're doing in part 2 today. We're going to talk about Sean. We're going to talk about Designer Con. And thank you so much to all of my Circle of Trust listeners for listening and supporting Adventures in Design. Part 2 celebrates the friendship that has grown to become Adventures in Design. And you at home, you're a big part of this. Couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much to everyone who goes over to AID.network and becomes a proud member of the Circle of Trust. What do you say we get back into it? What do you say we get into part 2, available only for members of Adventures in Design? Sign up at AID.network today. Okay, into my top 5. Number 5, I saw this.
Number 1.
I saw this trailer when I was going to see A Star Is Born. And I absolutely fell out of my seat when I saw who was playing Dick Cheney in Vice, which comes out December 25th on Christian Day.
Yeah. Christian Bale Day.
On Christian Bale Day. Christian Bale is a madman, because if you think about him in American Psycho, and when you think about him as the Batman, when you think about him in that boxing movie he did,
Machinist as well.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has been a well-oiled machine. This time around, he's playing the fat version of himself. He's playing Dick Cheney, and it looks like an amazing cast. Steve Carell as Donald Rumsford. You got a lot of different people in here. Sam Rockwell doing George W. Bush. There's a lot of talent in this film, and they're all really nailing the people that they're playing. The only thing that's a little bit of a question mark for me is politics have become such a huge part of everything the last couple of years. Like, I literally refer to 2018 as Trump season 2. And that's what it feels like. It's so surreal. It feels like a TV show for some of us that keep up on it every day, that don't put our heads in the sand.
Oh, we're going to get 8 seasons as well. Shit.
Well, there was also
disappointed lame duck final season.
There was also the prequel, which was election year. But I'm a little bit interested to see how this vibes with me and how it vibes with audiences when we're already in a political shitstorm. Do we really feel like we want to do some fictional, do we want to go back in time?
So this, 3 years ago, I think, me and Ruth came to California for our honeymoon, and we saw The Big Short, which is, that was a Christmas movie that year. We went to see it in San Diego, and it was great. And it's the same team, it's the same director, it's the same kind of sideways swipe at a political kind of touchstone,
right?
Kind of story, and it's got the same comedy vibes and stuff. This is just 2018's The Big Short, and I'm there for it because they've proved that they can do it. It's like an Oscar contender, but it's also going to be, like I say, it's funny. It's inherently funny. I mean, Dick Cheney is a crazy person. He shot his friend.
Yeah, like duck hunting.
It's just like, I mean, these were the good old days when politicians just started wars and things, harking back to the good old days when buildings were being knocked down in New York and stuff. It's crazy to think that it wasn't even that long ago, but this is going to be a comedic piece to a certain extent. You can see by the trailer, and I'm all in for it. And I do think that the people, I think it's a different time and it's a different thing. There's a fondness for George Bush now, which is mental.
It's absolutely insane, because I was talking about this with my wife over the holiday weekend. We were walking the dogs, and I was saying to her that, over the last 2 years, this isn't going to get into politics. It's just talking about the time we live in. So calm down. You don't need to write your comment. Oh, let's talk about Trump. The last 2 years, President Trump, hold on, I just threw up my mouth a little bit.
45.
5. He has been
45.
really, really lucky that there hasn't been a big thing that happened. There's been some natural disasters, which those are going to happen a couple every year, and more so as climate change takes shape. But
climate? What are you talking about?
Exactly, fake news. But the only big thing that's happened in the last 2 years is him getting in the way of himself. And there's so much just chaos out of the White House, so much chaos out of his Twitter feed. And even the people that voted for him and really stand for him would all beg him to stop doing the Twitter thing. I personally don't, because I find it amusing, and I like to know the real uncensored version of what he's thinking. But that being said, I told Beth, I'm like, I didn't like George W. Bush. I didn't agree with his politics, but I respected him.
No, he was horrible.
But I respected him as a president and the dignity that he had when he did the job. When he came out after 9/11, I stopped picking on him. I stopped making fun of him. I got behind my president because he absolutely showed integrity, and he showed what a president should do in those moments of crisis. We've had 2 years where it's been relatively a peaceful 2 years. Money's been flowing. The world has somehow gotten along. What will the next 2 years look like? And my biggest question is once this whole experiment of Trump is over with, will our next president go back to being a Ronald Reagan, a John F. Kennedy, a Barack Obama, a George W. Bush, George Bush Sr.? Will it go back to being sort of this dignified thing, or are we in a new chapter of chaos from here to eternity?
Oh, I don't want to think about that, really. I just hope that he has like an asterisk by his name.
Yeah.
And things just went a bit wonky for a few years.
Yeah, we tried
and
it.
Then it all goes back to normal.
We tried it
you
out.
got to give it a go. You know, throw it out, and we'll gently let it back in again. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what how it works. How our President 46 Beto O'Rourke does things. But who knows? Who the fuck knows at this point?
But the reason why I bring up that little side piece is that this Vice, it's all people that I thought were despicable at the time, and now I have like a fondness. Like I would welcome them back with open arms. So it's an all-star cast. I like when these directors and a group of actors, they figure out that they really like doing like a certain genre together, and it's almost like they become an improv troupe. You know, that they take on their next big challenge, and it's nice when you see a group of creative people get on a good run of collaboration. Number 4 on my list comes out on Christmas Day. It's a Nicole Kidman movie, which I can't believe I put at number 4. But you watched the trailer for Destroyer, and you tell me that you don't see something here that's worthy of watching. It looks absolutely wild.
Yeah, this is number 4 on my list. This looks good, man. This is like, this is just what I want to see on Christmas Day. Fucking hell. No, I'm genuinely like, I felt the same way. I was just like, right, okay, Nicole Kidman, she's got makeup on, she looks great, gross or whatever. But like, and it's got kind of TV vibes, like AMC, HBO TV vibes. But this. This looks amazing. I'm super excited. This is something that has that crossover appeal like Vice does for me, where it's just like, it's not necessarily something I would go to the cinema to see, but I'm going to go to the cinema to see it.
Yeah, to me, it looks so shocking and riveting, and that it was a good trailer, and that it told you, actually didn't tell you anything. It just made you ask a lot of questions about what the hell is happening here. But Nicole Kidman...
There's a lot of jumping in time in the trailer, so you don't understand really, because obviously it looks like it's taken a toll on her. It really does. So it's interesting. Poor Bucky.
To me, it had a vibe of Green Room.
Okay.
You know that film where it's like kind of dark and people are in a bad situation and there's things that are going and it's shot dark? It had a vibe like that film Green Room that you recommended to me that I absolutely adored. I remember I watched it on a flight or whatever, and I wrote you, I'm like, dude, thank you for a solid recommendation. I loved it. It made my flight pass by. But Destroyer looks really, really good. It looks like you're going to go in there. It has sort of an indie vibe to it. I love a chaotic thriller where it feels like good person maybe got put in a bad situation. Number 3 is a Clint Eastwood film. My dad raised me on Clint Eastwood films. I've seen probably every single one of them, many of them several times. Outlaw Josie Wells. The Mule is about an old Clint Eastwood who's maybe been a shitbag of a dad, who's trying to make things right, who's running drugs, takes one last gig, and it all seems to fall apart. I love Clint Eastwood. He's a great director, an even better actor. This is something that I really look forward to. Did you like Gran Torino?
Yeah, this feels a long way away from that, if you're asking me. This is where we part ways, man.
Really?
Yeah. Clint Eastwood has gone a little bit wonky over the last few
He's old as fuck.
few years. He talks to chairs. He makes kind of, non-apologetic, like he does. He talks to chairs at the fucking Republican National Convention. He's become a spokesperson for the alt-right for his movies, and I'm not comfortable with this, because this is one of those films that's going to make Mexican people out to be bad people more. And
you think so?
I just don't. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think this has got a real shitbag feel to it. And I think that people need to concentrate more on Clint Eastwood and stop giving him money than they do with Woody Allen, is what I would say. Personally, I'm gonna stand on my soapbox now.
Okay, so rank them in order. Despicable: Clint Eastwood, Woody Allen,
right?
Mel Gibson.
Oh, Mel Gibson
is most
certainly.
despicable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like we've seen him do things. We really have. Like,
there's recordings of him being horrendous.
Yeah, he's a bad person, definitely.
It's never appropriate to scream at a woman on a phone. You should just smile and blow me.
Yeah. Now, oh God, I'm gonna take some shit for this. I'm gonna eat shit for this. Woody Allen, I don't think. I just think he's a weird guy in a weird town, living a weird life, and he's done some things that I wouldn't personally choose to do.
Yeah,
I wouldn't marry my legally adopted daughter. I wouldn't. But all of the things that he's been accused of, like, I don't see how he can have his career taken away from him.
You know why?
Because of it.
Woody Allen is the old building in your town that,
right,
when it was built, times were different. People thought differently, and there was different rules. There was different rules for the way a building needed to be built. Now, if you build a new building, you got to have a way for Wheelchair Jones to roll right in the front door. But the old building is grandfathered in. So it's creepy, it's scary, it has stairs that you're going to break your neck on. But they're like, oh, that's the old building, we'll just let it go. But moving forward, we need to have a ramp, we need to have the handrail, we need an elevator. He got a pass. He got a pass. Because he was before everything went crazy.
That feels like a Clint Eastwood analogy as well, that, to be fair, because I think that he's only getting away with what he's getting away with because he's an old man. And it's like, oh, he's an old guy, so old. What
has he been doing? What am I not aware of? I mean, is he like on the Trump rally circuit, or does he wear the red and white hat?
He is basically a Trump guy now.
Really?
Yeah, he's basically like, he's making like right-wing movies about how brown people are bad. That's all of his movies from the last kind of 5 years have all been about like kind of like very pro-military, very pro kind of USA, very anti kind of immigration and anti kind of foreign. All of his movies. So he did the one about the sniper movie, American Sniper was it called, and then he made one about the Paris bombings and stuff like that. And these are movies that aren't for the snowflakes. Definitely not. And like I say, and then he did the talking to chair thing, where pretending that the chair was Barack Obama.
So do you think if he really is like, anti-brown folks?
Yeah.
Why would somebody like Bradley Cooper do a movie with him when Bradley Cooper is all about being squeaky clean and just being a total kiss ass to get to the top?
Because it's Clint Eastwood, and that it's the same with Woody Allen. Everybody clamored to still make movies with Woody Allen. Like he had his pick of anybody. And Clint Eastwood's the same because he's an institution. So if Clint Eastwood turns around and says, oh, make a movie with me, people say yeah. Like Bradley Cooper was the American Sniper, wasn't he? Yeah. So they're obviously got like some kind of thing. And obviously, I think Bradley Cooper was supposed to, Clint Eastwood was supposed to direct A Star Is Born. And Bradley Cooper was supposed to be a part of that as well. So obviously then things kind of like changed over. So they must have like some kind of personal relationship as well. But I don't know. Gran Torino was the kicking off point because it started out and that he had that kind of grumbly old guy who didn't like foreigners,
right.
And then he kind of learnt to kind of love them, and it had a really nice kind of like vibe to it. But then ever since then, it's like he's gone in the opposite direction, and I felt really kind of like it was a shame really because that had a really nice message and it was a good movie.
So you think that his messaging has changed? I mean, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to pay attention to that because. I don't want to be following some guy that I have nostalgia for down the racist rabbit hole. But I always thought that I always thought that Clint Eastwood was the type of artist where it's like, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to use really, really bad language. I'm going to reinforce all your bad beliefs, but then I'm going to pivot into a moment of learning. And because I took you that far, you're willing to hear my message that, not everybody's the way they seem on the outside, but you don't think that's true anymore.
No, I don't. I think he's gone wonky and I think he's kind of lost it. But,
all right. Well, I'll put on my red and white hat and I'll head out to the cinema and I'll let you know.
Yeah, you'll see. That is going to be a very white audience, very old white audience for the mule.
Number 2 is a film that I can't quite put my finger on, but I love Steve Carell, and I've been enjoying him find, whatever it is that he's looking for as an actor, but I hope that he does find his way back to The Office coming soon. Welcome to Marwen looks like...
Horrible.
You think it's horrible?
Oh my God, like what is this movie?
It looks insane.
This is Robert Zemeckis. Like he has just made mess after mess for the last 10 years now. Like I can't remember the last time he made a good movie. Like, he keeps saying, "Oh, we're not doing a Back to the Future Part 4 and I'm not going to do this." But it's like
he did Forrest Gump, man.
Yeah, but that was 23 years ago. I'd much rather see Back to the Future Part 4 than Welcome to Marwen. This is going to make no money. Like, who is this movie for? This has got John Carter, that Time movie that came out like kind of a few years ago. This has got that kind of Tomorrowland vibe to it. It's like,
yeah, you know what? You're
he's
absolutely
making movies
right.
for himself.
You're absolutely right. It does have that Tomorrowland. I wouldn't say John Carter, but it does have that Tomorrowland vibe to it, where Steve Carell basically plays a guy who was an artist that could illustrate, was good with his hands, goes away to war, comes back, isn't wired the way that he used to be, and plays with dolls and tells his art through dolls. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I love stop animation. I really, really enjoy like set design and how things are built. So I could watch a movie like this. It could be total shit. Because like Nightmare Before Christmas technically isn't a very good movie, but it's fucking
No,
it's fun to watch because of all the little sets and the architecture in it. So I could literally watch this just for that. I mean, I've put a lot of movies in this list based on a roll of the dice of curiosity. This is the one that I am the most curious about.
This has got the most, like, this is the uncanniest of Valleyest movies. The faces look weird on the dolls. It just doesn't quite. It all looks unfinished. It all looks strange. It's like oh, you should have you should have never made this movie. But if you were going to make it, you maybe should have made it in 20 years when this has all been perfected. Because this must have cost a lot of money to make,
a bundle,
and they're not going to make any of that money back because it's not for anybody. It makes no sense. I just, no wonder movies are going down the shitter because, and you know, we've talked before about how they don't make small movies anymore. It's either, no, they don't make medium movies anymore. They only make small movies or big movies. And this is a big movie. This must have cost a lot of money to make.
A fortune.
And it's like, they could have made like 4 medium budget movies on this budget and they would have made so much more money. And like I said, this comes out on the same day as Holmes and Watson, Aquaman and Bumblebee, and 2 days after Mary Poppins Returns. It's going to be massacred. It really is. Shit. Whoa. Oh my God, this is a loser out of in the whole list.
What do you think it is about the Steve Carells and to some degree the Jim Carreys? You know, what do you think it is about the guy that's able to be the extreme funny man to where they go? And you know, Robin Williams did this too, and I thought it was where Robin Williams shined the most. What do you think it is about the extreme funny man that goes on the voyage, if you will, or the pilgrimage of just doing one intense drama after another? Is it that, I mean, I think comedy is the hardest thing to do. So if you can master comedy, you're pretty much tooled to be an actor in any other genre. I mean, comedy is really hard and not everyone succeeds at it.
So I do think you've just answered the question, but I also think that there is definitely a darkness to like certain comedians, and Jim Carrey and Robin Williams certainly have that. What I would say is that Steve Carell feels a little different to those two guys. Like, you know, there was a bit of a manic kind of mentalness, but whereas Steve Carell, he made comedy movies and he made The Office and stuff like that, but I think he was just trying to find his way in Hollywood and tried out comedy more, and he's definitely got that kind of comedic vibe, but he always made kind of like fairly serious movies. You know, one of his first movies, like breakout movies, was Little Miss Sunshine, and you know, like the 40. So I think at this point, the comedies are the outliers, is what I would say. Like, so, and the only reason why you think of him as a comedian is because of like of the long stretch on The Office and 40-Year-Old Virgin. But what else has he done really? Like, you know, he did a few bits, but they were always quite small things, and I just think he's kind of really grown into that. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if he was always that guy who just kind of got to know the right people and maybe made a couple of comedies. And that's what it feels like. Whereas with Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, they were comedians who kind of got really, really famous and then started to kind of maybe grow tired of that and kind of change it. Whereas I don't think Steve Carell's that, personally. I don't know. Might be wrong.
I feel like, and this is just me completely projecting my own opinion into Steve Carell, but I feel is almost, if it's like, I don't want to be Michael Scott from The Office my entire life. I don't want to be the 40-year virgin. I want to show everyone that I am truly capable of being a great actor. So I'm going to just keep taking, I'm dialed in on money. I'm dialed in on success. So I'm going to take everything I can that just lets me flex, you know, like the hardest. Hey, what's up, squirrel? Just squirrel like staring at me out my window.
Nice.
there'll be a signing after this recording. Please come back later. But, I feel like everything that he takes, and, you see a lot of artists do this, like they're known for a thing, and then all they try to do the rest of their career is get away from that thing. Like a guy that starts a design podcast, and then all he ever tries to do is do everything that has nothing to do with design. Like why do people do these things? I will say this, though. If you think about it, one of the things that made Michael Scott so funny and so endearing and so charming is there was always a darkness in all of the jokes. And, like Michael Scott was as funny as he was sad. So it doesn't surprise me that these sad sack roles really are great for Steve Carell, because that was a big part of how he played Michael Scott.
Yeah, you were never laughing with him, you were always laughing at him.
Yeah, and sometimes it felt bad to laugh at him.
There's a mental illness thing.
Yeah,
definitely. Agreed. Whereas, I think that wasn't always the case with the other two guys, with Jim Carrey. That he was just like the life and soul. You never thought, oh, that's a crazy person, because there wasn't really a movie. It was always just characters.
Right. And Jim Carrey too. I think that's somebody who just wants to prove I can somewhat do it all. That, because I'm not a fan of his comedies, because he plays it. Same with Robin Williams. They play it way too over the top for me. That to me, when you go that far, it stops being funny. It becomes showy. But both of those guys as serious actors, I have a lot of respect for. Like all my favorite Robin Williams work was, Dead Poet Society and 12-Hour Photo and all that shit, where he was, dark and serious. All right, my number one pick. I'm surprised that this was my pick, but it's a Christmas movie, if you will. It's called Ben is Back, and it's about a young troubled boy who shows up to his family on Christmas Day, and it's really, and you'll see maybe if you know me why I picked this. It's about a mother who won't give up on her son.
Right, which makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I get that.
And it really, I've been drug free my entire life, but I've always been amazed at people that are on drugs, that cripple with the disease that is substance abuse, and the way that it affects a family, and the way that it breaks somebody apart. And it's like, I love my animals, and when you have a child, as you know, Sean, you look at Chip as an end table, and you look at Henry as if it's an extension of your fucking heart that you wear on the outside. Yeah. So to see Julia Roberts in this film, she doesn't want to give up on her son, but she also knows that she can't turn a blind eye to his addiction, and that he hasn't been trustworthy. To me, this just hit all of the check boxes for something I want to watch around the holidays. It's gut-wrenching. It's devastating. It's about loyalty. It's about family. Like, to me, this goes above and beyond a superhero that lives under the sea or 50 Spider-Man in a film. Like, this is something that I absolutely want to see, and really strong cast of characters in it.
Yeah, I agree about the cast. I think that if it wasn't Julia Roberts, it probably wouldn't be out at the cinema. It feels a little TV movie for me.
I could see that.
Who knows? It might be really good. I mean, the people are good in it, so I'm kind of going to give it a roll of the dice. It looks fine. Like, it has no place being number one on the top of your list, but I get that, it's a personal choice, but listen, it could be good, and I'm definitely interested in it, and it looks funny. It seems a little generic for me. That's all. Yeah, no,
it seems like a 90-minute episode of This Is Us.
Lifetime. Yes.
No, it doesn't seem
Absolutely.
like Lifetime. Let's not throw it in that bucket of trash. But
soft focus.
There might have been a little petroleum jelly on the camera when they shot this.
Yeah.
But that's our top 12. 13, if you want to put Vader in there, the fan film that's over on YouTube, December 20th, if you need a little bit of Star Wars. And there you go. There's what's out. We don't pick what's in the cinema. We just let you know what's there in an order in which I found them to be compelling or interesting. A lot of gambles. I don't know that we look back. If we have this conversation a year from now, I don't know that there's one of these films we go, but 2019 just definitely doesn't have a Bumblebee in it. I mean, we're not going to see that kind of hit this year.
I mean, I straight up will not see 7 of these movies. So, it's been fun to talk about it, but I would say 4 or 5 of them are a must see. So I think it's strong. Me, I think it's strong. It's very top ended strong.
All right,
and then the rest of it is fine.
Coming up in part 2 for members of the Circle of Trust, we are going to talk about some Hollywood Entertainment Insider news. And, because we all are buds and a lot of us are probably curious what happened to Mr. Sean Moore, we will talk about the greatest 10-day vacation to America that never happened.
Oh, God. Shit.
Thank you for listening to the free version of today's show. If you'd like to have another half an hour to hang out with Sean and I and hear all about his tales of not making it to the U.S. and my perspective on Designer Con, make sure you go over to AID.network and sign up today to become a member of the Circle of Trust. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you so much for listening to the show.